Hi, this is Michael Carbajal, and you're watching True School Sports. Take care. Good day.
It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
Now, I wanted to just give my thoughts on last night's fights, just for documentation purposes. So we have this in the archives. I'm not going to do two videos for Teo and Crawford, all right? This is going to be one video covering both fights. So watch the video to figure out what I said about whatever fight you care about me talking about. We'll start off with, Bud, Terence Crawford, because this is a guy that a lot of people do view as pound king. He definitely is one of the top pound fighters in the world. And let's face facts, Terence Crawford's got 10 straight knockouts in the welterweight division. And Terence Crawford hasn't gone the full distance since the Barack Obama administration. It's been a long time since Terence Crawford went the distance, all the way back to the Victor Postal fight, to be exact. And, in watching last night's fight against David Avanesyan, Terence, early on, he looked like a 35-year-old. He did look like he had some ring rust, and he did have to knock that ring rust off. And that was a process that he had to go through in the first, 2, 3, 4 rounds. But, pretty much after that, after he went through that process, you saw Terence Crawford sit right there in the pocket with Avanesyan. I thought it was very masterful out of that southpaw stance how Terence was able to sit there, and Avanesyan would throw 2, 3 punches and Terence Crawford just parry it over and over again, just parrying 3, 4 punches at a time. Right there, as the great trainer Nazim Richardson would say, he was swimming without getting wet. He was right there, punches were being thrown at him, but he wasn't getting touched. And it was just so great to see the process in which he took to get the knockout, because I remember somewhere around like round 4 or 5-ish, that's when he sat in the pocket and kind of like, try to block and parry things with Avanesyan. And as he was doing that, you kind of saw him start to throw a steady diet of uppercuts, sometimes double uppercuts, sometimes triple uppercuts. That's what he focused on doing, and he did it very well. And a lot of these uppercuts weren't landing, but I think these are uppercuts that were not designed to hurt Avanesyan. He was setting these uppercuts up for something else, because when Avanesyan was there in the pocket, he was trying to get Avanesyan to tighten up his guard, because he was in a high guard, but the guard wasn't necessarily the tightest. So by throwing the uppercuts over and over again, he got Avanesyan to go from here, with his elbows kind of pointed out, to really tightening that guard. And when you tighten your guard, that leaves vulnerabilities to come around the side, to hit you here or here. And once he got Avanesyan to kind of adhere to and do what he wanted him to do, then Crawford, that's when you saw the devastating right hook come around the guard, and he got him out of there. So what I saw in that fight, I saw a fighter that maybe Crawford, where maybe he has lost a step in terms of athleticism and maybe being in his physical prime. I saw a guy that when we talk about IQ and the thought process of how he goes about getting knockouts and the execution of it, he's still one of the best in the sport, if not the best in the sport. There's an argument to be had that he might just be the best finisher in boxing, just behind Artur Beterbiev, because how can you argue with the 100% knockout ratio? But yeah, I mean, look, he did what he's supposed to do. I thought it was a good reminder to the world that, hey, Terence Crawford is still a dangerous man, and he can get you out of there, and he's one of the smartest fighters in boxing. But I left the fight very discouraged about how, like, he didn't really go ahead and make his intentions known for the Spence fight. Like, he kind of just had like a whatever type of attitude. And look, I don't care about that fight. They're both divas. They both have caused a ruination to the welterweight division, and I would like for them both to get out the division, truth be told. But for the other fans, I want to see this fight. What you're looking to hear is that Terence Crawford is adamant about wanting that fight to happen next, and he had a great chance to do it. Make it known after a devastating knockout, and he underwhelmed in the post-fight performance. So we'll see how happens for Crawford. I don't think Crawford's really. I don't think Crawford or Spence really at this point care about their legacies. I think they both are just trying to make do with what they can and try to make as much money as possible in the sport. And I just hope for the fans that still care about that fight's sake, and for the health of boxing, not for me, but for the health of boxing, they can come to an agreement at some point and the two divas can fight. But yeah, great performance. Enjoyed it. And I was reminded last night of why Terence Crawford is still one of my favorite fighters. Is just the stuff around that whole Spence situation. You know, that stuff makes me kind of salty. Not like Terence like I used to, but on his night, when he's there and he's in that ring, there's a reason why we talk about him the way we do. So, yeah, great performance from him against Avanesyan. For Avanesyan, he was at that level we found out. But, look, I think Avanesyan will probably get the call for fights moving forward because, you know, he fought Crawford. And just by fighting Crawford, he's now more of a known commodity in boxing. And he was game in the rounds that he was there in the ring with Crawford. So he's going to eventually at some point get a chance to prove himself and get another call. So speedy recovery to him, and God bless him as he goes back to the UK. But as far as Teo, let's talk about Teofimo Lopez because he was the big subject last night, you know, with the fight with Sandor Martin. You know, Teofimo Lopez, basically, there was a lot. For me, I was asked by a lot of people about what I thought about this fight and Teo going forward in the 140 division with like big fights against the likes of Regis Prograis. And look, I like Teo, and I still think there's a great fighter in there. But I was adamant before this fight, you know, stay away from Regis Prograis. He's not ready for that yet. And after seeing this fight, it was confirmation of what I already knew because you had Sandor Martin, who doesn't have the reputation for being a big puncher, but you know, a tricky southpaw, awkward, knows how to use the ring, knows how to turn you. Did a good job of turning Crawford over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Just turning him over and over again. He eventually caught him with a devastating, well, not a devastating, but a right hook, a counter right hook that landed on Teo. Was a flash knockdown in round 2, and he really got himself into the fight. And I thought he did a good job throughout the fight of popping that jab. And there was another knockdown later in the fight that didn't get called, which if it did get called, he might have got a draw or won the fight, or his fortunes could have been different. But, you know, Sandor Martin definitely validated himself even more as a guy that where it wasn't a fluke against Mikey Garcia, and he is a formidable top 15 caliber opponent in the 140 division. So you look for him to get more big calls in the future. You know, a lot of people come from this fight thinking he won the fight. Now I didn't score the fight and I haven't watched it back, but he's definitely gonna have a case, you know, to win the fight, just because like Teo didn't really make the fight. You know, Teo was very underwhelming, very predictable on his attacking, and there was the infamous clip after the fight where Teo pretty much said, I don't know, like, do I still got it? And he's having those questions. He's having those doubts about himself. He's having those mental breakdowns, you know, and it really is sad because the reality that I don't want to accept, I really don't want to accept that this could be the truth, but you know, you have to be honest with yourself. We may have already seen the best of Teofimo Lopez. He may have peaked early because the reality is Teofimo Lopez didn't, even though he beat Pedro Campo, he didn't look the greatest in that fight. Like, he looked good, he looked all right, but he didn't look like the greatest in that fight. He damn sure didn't look good last night. And mentally, it seems like he's not all the way there. And, you know, it's not our business what his personal life is, but it's there to be seen. And, you know, we saw his wife ringside or whatnot. And you know, it's not our business to know what's going on. But, you know, that could be playing a role as into why he's not performing well. It seems like every time she's there in the crowd, most of the time he doesn't perform well. And then, you know, he's not listening to his dad's instructions. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of things going on with Teo. And I just don't know if he'll ever recapture the form he was once in, because I've said this many times with other fighters, and I'll say it with him. You know, fighters start off loving boxing, and then they get to a certain level so far as fame, status, and achievements, and then the love is gone, the thrill is gone, and the fire ain't there. The fire burns out, and it can burn out very fast. And it seems like that might be the case with Teofimo Lopez, that the fire may just be burnt out very, very quickly and swiftly. So it's an unfortunate state of affairs, but it's the reality of the situation. So you know, listen, Regis Prograis, these kind of guys, stay away from them, because it won't go well for him. He needs to, you know, maybe fight Arnold Barbosa Jr. next, which, by the way, I'm still not sure. I'm even less sure now that he'd be Arnold Barbosa, because after what I saw last night, Teofimo Lopez seems to lack any sort of creativity in his attack when he hits guys and they don't fall over or they don't hurt him. So he's going to have to tweak some things with his style. You know, a lot of people in my life made a big point about how he doesn't have Joey Gamache on his team anymore. And ever since Joey Gamache left his team, things have gone astray for him. And I think whatever the problems were with Joey Gamache, they need to mend those things, because ever since he hasn't been part of Team Lopez, Teofimo's career has just skyrocketed downwards. And I don't like seeing this, because Teofimo Lopez, whether he wants to acknowledge it or not, is one of South Florida's very own and a product of the Davy Powell. And I don't want to see him flame out so quickly. I want to see him be the best he can be. And you know, it's just a sad state of affairs. So yeah, you know, Teofimo Lopez, I still think there's a great fight in there. I'm not going to be quick to write him off as far as like his abilities. A lot of people saying he's washed up. I don't think he's washed up. I think he's not applying his skills correctly. I think mentally, there's a disconnect between himself mentally and physically in that ring. And until he solves that, he'll always be having performances like this. So hopefully those things get sorted out sooner rather than later. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the fights last night. Y'all can let me know what you think in the comments down below. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take your eyes.
True School Sports. He's the truth. One of the best YouTube. The best.
Ooh, the number one.
Number one.
Brandon, you've been there, man, and you're building up a good following with us.
Thank you.
And I'm proud to be a part of what you're doing too. You are spectacular, and
You know?
Thank you, man. All the best to True School Boxing, and keep up the good work.